So remember last time when I talked in the story club, I talked about how I started coding and decided to take software development as my career. This story is what happened in between. What happened between when I sort of fell in love with software development and how I ended up in this career. Uh, so as a kid, when I was a kid, while growing up, my father always wanted me to become a doctor. And that is a prevalent thought even today, that if you have two kids at home, uh, one will become an engineer and another one will become a doctor. So throughout my upbringing, throughout all the education till graduation, it was the prevalent thing that was happening. That's why my graduation was in a stream of biology. But I started, reading about programming languages and started getting interested in that. And I decided to make that as my career choice. As expected, my father was cooperating, but also a bit reluctant that his dream of his son becoming a doctor was not getting fulfilled. But anyhow, he sort of agreed, and I convinced him to let me choose the path that I decided. So that was a big decision, that changing the stream from botany or biology to a totally different stream of computer science. That was a big shift. And if you are making some significant career choice, all the family members are supposed to get together and see whether that career choice is appropriate or not. So we called up my bhaiya, and we all three sat together and discussed that what should be the path, whether it is a viable choice or not. So after very long, several rounds of discussion, we finally decided that, okay, doing MCA is better choice if you want to proceed with a software development career. I was graduate by that time. So, I had to opt something which could give me an opening to this development, software development world. Wherever you go for, job opening, they were asking, what is your class qualification that time. So I had a couple of options. I could go with an IIT, which was open, anybody could go, or I could go for a more structured thing like MCA. So finally, we decided that, okay, MCA is the right choice, and I should be doing that. But then you cannot go get into admission. You cannot get admission in MCA if you don't have a mathematics stream. So my options were very limited by that. So try to figure out what all I can do. So figured that, okay, I could do MCA from IGNOU. They were having a bit relaxed entry criteria, though there were criteria that you have to be an MCA, which was a 3 years course. You did a bachelor's in computer application, or you could do something like they used to run a 6-month program called COC, Certification of Computing. So I could do that. I could do COC, and then I could get admission into MCA. But that was a very long path, 3 years of MCA, and then though COC was 6 months course, but then MCA admission to MCA only happened once a year. So effectively, I have to spend 4 years. So, doing graduation and then again waiting for 4 years, that was a bit longer. So I further studied or discussed or find out what are other options to reduce this cycle. And it came out that I could get into lateral admission. So lateral admission is that you give an exam and you can directly get enrolled in 3rd semester of MCA. So effectively 2 years of MCA you have to do. But there was catch there also, that you had to do a PGDSA or 1 year diploma course from a government organization. So okay, let's find out what all those organizations from where we could get this PGDCA degree. So I figured out that okay, there is something called CMC, which is a government enterprise, and I could take 1 year course from there, and I could apply for lateral entry examination and qualify their entry exam and get admission to that. So okay, now that the career path was decided, okay, I'll do PGDCA from CMC, I'll do MCA from IGNOU, and I'll apply for a job and I'll get some handsome software development job. So everything was set. My father was still not very convinced, but somehow when I was coming to Delhi to take admission in PGDCA, I remember one thing he said that, okay, beta, ja to rahe ho, but take this as your last opportunity. Don't deviate, because there is a stream change. You did graduation in botany and now you are changing to MCA. So he was having his doubt that, okay, I may, come back to botany world or the biology world. So he wanted me to be very sure that if you are taking this career opportunity or career choice, stick to that. And that thing, is sticking still, after say 20 years or so, more than 20 years, I still remember that line very clearly. And when he said, and what was that moment? So yeah, I mean, till that time, everything was defined well. The path was very clear that these are the 3 steps that I was going to take. I came to Delhi, took admission in CMC. PGDCA was going on fine. Everything was going on well. I was the IGNOU lateral entry examination date came out. I was about to apply at the very same time. Something happened. The CMC organization was bought by Tata. So Tata started owning 51% stake of CMC. Government still had 49%, but 51% was with Tata, and it was no longer a government organization. So the path that I took, doing PGDCA, then MCA, and then software development, I had some bad feeling about that. Even though I started doing PGDCA with a government organization, when I'll pass out, the certificate would say that you have done a PGDCA from a non-government organization. And the same thing happened. When I went to IGNOU for applying for the lateral entry, my application was rejected. I went back, I went to their office to discuss that, okay, to give all sort of arguments that when I joined, it was government enterprise. Why don't you let me in? And I have, decided my entire career path based on this. But they did not listen. That this is our criteria, and you are not meeting that criteria. So rejected. It was such a shattering, heartbreaking experience at that point of time. All the paths are closed now. But life gives you choices, or God gives you choices, that when one door is closed, you get another door. Some sort of door is open for you, and you need to pick that up. Around the same time, somebody referred that, why don't you go for CDAC? CDAC is another, not sure how many of you know, but it is, it used to be a reputed organization. Most of the candidates that used to go there were engineers, and they had to qualify an all India level examination to reach there. And C, C++, all those were the questions that were asked. So I applied for that, and I was hesitant at first that, okay, I'm doing MCA. Why should I apply for CDAC, even though I know that that is not my what I'm aiming for. But somehow I had by that time I had applied for that. So when they rejected my application for the IGNOU MCA, I had one thing now, and that was probably the last chance that my dad was saying, okay, this is now the last chance. So it was around 3 months from then that I had to, give the examination for that. I knew that it is going to be tough exam because all the engineers were going to be there. I was a simple graduate, and that was the mindset that time, that I was a simple graduate, and I have to compete with all the engineers who have been trained 4 years with in this stream, and they will be. I have to compete against them. Uh, so 3 years, 3 months was a short span of time, but those 3 months I read. I knew that they are going to ask me C and C++ in that. So the entire 3 months, I read all the C and C++ books that were available, that I could get hold of. I could buy or I could borrow all the C and C++ thing. You could ask anything. I could tell you all the things in theory. I could code all the things. In that 3 months, I was that diligent, and I put everything in there. Now 3 months passed, and come the day of examination. This is your last chance. This is your last, and that was going around in the head. So when I saw the question paper, 0 question came from C++. All my 3 months that I studied so hard that okay, I should learn C++ to the core, and 0 question were there from C++. So there were questions from OS, networking, data structure, uh, a bit of data structure, and a bit of C. And that time, all the preparation that I did for MCA, that helped. So somehow I gave the exam, and I was sort of having mixed feeling about that. Okay, how, why did not even a single question were asked from C++? Those kind of things were going in my head. Why did not I prepare for OS and all those things? But the first 9 months that I was preparing, I was doing PGDCA, and I was preparing for MCA lateral examination. I think that came into help. And finally, around a month later, when the results came, I got selected, and I was, probably that is one of the most satisfying day in my life. So I think that is how my career path started. That with a lot of rejections, with a lot of persistence, with a lot of hard work. I think now that once I got admitted in CDAC, then onwards the career took some shape. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the story that I wanted to share. That even though I started or I thought of this to be a path, it was not a smooth path. It was having ups and downs. So yeah, I mean, that was my story.